They say the mind is a fortress, but history and marketing proved it's actually more like a house with the front door left wide open. From cult leaders who exploited our need for belonging to retail giants that use colors to make you hungry, we are presenting the 15 best psychological tricks used to pull your strings. 1. The foot in the door technique. This is a classic compliance tactic used by salespeople and cult recruiters alike. They start with a request so small it's impossible to say no to, like, "Can you sign this petition?" Once you've agreed, your brain views you as a supporter, making you much more likely to agree to a massive second request. In extreme cases, this has led to collective self-immolation and suicide. It's the psychological equivalent of a vampire asking for an invitation. Once they're in, they're staying for dinner. 2. The door in the face technique. This is the opposite of the first trick. Someone asks for something absolutely ridiculous, like a $5,000 donation. When you inevitably say, "No way," they immediately follow up with a much smaller request, like $20. Because you feel a weird sense of guilt for saying no the first time, you're statistically more likely to say yes to the compromise. You haven't won a negotiation, you've been played by a script. 3. Gaslighting. Named after a 1938 play, this involves making someone question their own reality by flat-out lying about events they witnessed. If you do it long enough, the victim stops trusting their own senses and starts relying entirely on the manipulator for the truth. It's a favorite of dictators and toxic exes. In extreme cases, the manipulation is so extreme as to induce mental illness and commitment to psychiatric institutions. 4. The decoy effect. Ever wonder why movie theater popcorn comes in small, medium, and large, but the large is only 50 cents more than the medium? The medium is a decoy. It exists only to make the large look like a steal. You weren't planning on eating a bucket of corn, but your brain convinced you that not buying it was actually losing money. Retail therapy is often just retail surgery on your bank account. 5. Love bombing. This is the primary tool for cult recruitment, with the purpose being to strategically break down an individual's defenses. New members are showered with affection, praise, and attention, creating an artificial high. Once the person is hooked on the validation, the leader threatens to withdraw it unless the member obeys. This leads to dependency, confusion, and a distorted sense of reality. It turns out unconditional love comes with lots of conditions meant to exploit your vulnerabilities. 6. The Zeigarnik effect. Our brains hate unfinished business. This is why TV shows use cliffhangers and why clickbait works. By opening a curiosity gap, your brain enters a state of mild anxiety that can only be relieved by finishing the task or clicking the link. It's why you're still watching this video, even though you have a pile of laundry waiting. Don't worry, the laundry isn't going anywhere. 7. The Benjamin Franklin effect. Most people think we do nice things for people we like. Psychological studies show it's actually the opposite. We like people because we do nice things for them. If a manipulator asks you for a small favor, your brain justifies the effort by telling itself, "I must like this person, otherwise why would I help them?" Franklin used this to turn enemies into friends. It's the only time "Can I borrow a pencil" was a tactical move.
8. Social proof. If you see a crowd of people running in one direction, you'll probably start running too. In psychology, this is the belief that if everyone is doing it, it must be the right thing to do. It's why sitcoms use laugh tracks and why bestseller lists are so effective. We're essentially just highly evolved sheep who feel safer when the rest of the flock is also looking at their phones. 9. The halo effect. This is a cognitive bias where our overall impression of a person influences how we feel about their character. If someone is physically attractive or charismatic, we automatically assume they're also smart, kind, and trustworthy. It's how con artists and charming dictators get away with literal murder. Just because someone has great hair doesn't mean they won't steal your kidneys. 10. The Milgram obedience. In a famous 1961 experiment, ordinary people were told by a man in a lab coat to administer electric shocks to a stranger. Even when the victim screamed in pain, 65% of participants continued to the highest voltage simply because an authority figure told them to. It turns out, "I was just following orders" isn't a rare excuse. It's a built-in hardware flaw in the human brain. 11. Fear of missing out, FOMO. Scarcity is a powerful motivator. When a website tells you there's only one item left or a limited time offer, it triggers a primitive survival instinct to grab resources before they're gone. It bypasses logic and goes straight to panic. You didn't need that neon green toaster, but the thought of not having the chance to buy it was too much to bear. 12. The bystander effect. The more people there are watching a situation, the less likely any one person is to help. Manipulators, like pickpockets, exploit the bystander effect by performing harmful actions with a calm public demeanor, using the crowd's natural hesitation and fear of social blundering as a protective shield. By appearing inconspicuous or offering a fake but plausible justification for their behavior, especially if they are caught, they ensure that witnesses remain paralyzed by the assumption that someone else will intervene. 13. Choice architecture. This is when the way choices are presented nudges you toward a specific one. For example, making organ donor the default option on a form dramatically increases participation because most people are too lazy to check the opt-out box. You think you're making a choice, but the person who designed the form already made it for you. Your free will has a terms and conditions page you never read. 14. The anchoring bias. The first piece of information you hear sets the anchor for everything that follows. If a car salesman tells you a car is $30,000, then drops the price to $25,000, you feel like you've won. If he had started at $20,000, you'd think $25,000 was a ripoff. Your brain doesn't care about value, it only cares about the comparison. 15. The Barnum effect. This is why horoscopes and personality quizzes feel so personal. They use vague, general statements like, "You have a great deal of unused capacity," that could apply to literally anyone. Your brain fills in the gaps with specific personal details, convincing you that the writer must be a psychic. It's a trick that proves we're all so desperate to be seen that we'll accept a blurry mirror as a portrait. History isn't just a list of dates, it's a record of the absolute chaos of the human experience and how easily that chaos can be directed. We like to think we're in control, but a few psychological nudges can change the course of a life or a nation in a heartbeat. Next time you feel a sudden urge to buy something or join a new club, just remember someone probably designed that urge in a lab. See you next time, assuming you're making the choice to come back or that we manipulated you into making that decision.